Hey guys, welcome to Gauntlet's Racemon. Today I want to give you a quick preview of a new ship set, new race for Gauntlet's Racemon. This will be for version 1.4. Version 1.4 should hopefully be adding 2 new ship sets / custom races, 5 new ship set colors, 5 new appearances, maybe a few more minor races, and most importantly we're going to add shipyards, custom shipyards to all of the different pre-existing custom races I've designed thus far. So, this preview is for one of those new races. You can kind of see them over here in the right-hand corner. Brains in jars. They are called the Quantum Cyberiat. They're inspired by the Cybermen from Doctor Who. And basically their planet was floating further and further away from their star. They were getting colder and colder. They resorted to cybernetics to survive. That's where my story stops being similar to Doctor Who's Cybermen. In this case, these guys created a artificial super intelligence, told it, save us, and, well, it did, just not the way they had hoped. They thought maybe it'd find a way to, give them better fusion power, heat up the planet, move it closer to orbit, whatever. It decided that actually what would be best is if they just all became part of the artificial superintelligence. So it quickly took control, increasingly cybernetically enhanced the population until they were little more than genetically super-engineered brains in jars, and shoved them into the system as a whole. Basically, the artificial intelligence is still in charge and is still all about survival at any cost. However, the sort of subconscious of the AI is now supplemented by millions and millions and millions of individuals who've been forcibly ripped out of their bodies and shoved into robots. They're insane, but unfortunately they can't really do anything about it. They can't kill themselves, they can't go against orders from the AI, from the super AI, but they are completely motherfucking insane at this point. They don't die, they just continue to go madder and madder and madder. So they are hyper-violent and disturbed in many, many cases. So this is definitely a malevolent civilization. Alright, so that's the background. Here's the ships. Now, you'll recognize a lot of these ships because it is the reincarnation of the X series from some of my earliest videos. Unfortunately, that was some of my earliest work. My naming system, my naming convention for custom parts has changed, and I've just gotten better. So I had to rebuild the whole set from scratch. But I think it was definitely worth it, although a lot of work. First up, let's look at the giant glowing orb thing. This is the shipyard. So you're going to see these sort of little, I think of them as nanite engines, all throughout the series in this big nano core, if you will. So, nano machines, whatever. This is a cool shipyard, if only because it's so non-traditional. Basically, you don't even, I've designed it so you don't see ships. It's actually building a ship right now, and you can't really see it. Sometimes when building a little bit will stick out, but for the most part, it's not really noticeable. So I kind of like that. I think it's cool. They're building the ship inside that big glowy thing, and they go from there. Okay. Now, just real quick, here's a station. It's a cargo station, so this is what I would use for, say, a sensor outpost ship. I think that's pretty cool. I got the big beam thing that's scaling in order to get that sort of glowy effect, which I think is pretty neat. Then, moving on, let's look at the cargo ships, the other cargo ships. So you're going to notice this sort of bug-like appearance. These guys have these, 6 legs and 2 bigger arm claws. Yeah, so this one here on the right is the colony ship. And then on the left here is the constructor, and you can see the construction modules around. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with these guys. I definitely like how they look. They've got a very bug-like appearance, but they're clearly robots. They're not organic at all. And all these ships are going to have one big eye. Let's skip to the tinies for a second here. Alright, there you go. So this is a tiny scout right here, with the small hull explorer ship being just 3 of them in a row. and then you have this is a small balanced ship, which is just 3 of the tiny fighters combined into one model, which is kind of my thing. So yeah, I like it. It's mostly a recreation of the original, albeit with much smaller mandibles and a much bigger eye. I also did you all a favor a little bit in that I did limit myself a little bit with animations. This was the only race in that originally would make my game choppy, but only in the ship designer. It no longer does that, so I did dial it back so that it would hopefully not have performance issue on very high-end machines. I know that's not much solace to those of you who play this game without a high-end machine to enjoy my animations, but sorry. Maybe Stardock one day will give you a shut-off animations menu option. That'd be cool. Alright, skipping now, we're going to do carriers. Here is the drone carrier, the cargo carrier, if you will. And you can see they've got them hanging off. I did keep with this race's sort of motif of lots of little bug-like fighters. So he's got a lot of them docked there. And this guy was a lot of fun to do. Okay. Then we have the transport. The transport's very similar to the other cargos, except it's got the giant spinning back piece that's kind of scaling and growing with all these little nano drones, nano engines, if you will. Yeah, basically it goes into orbit. The little nanite engines deploy and presumably convert the populace into raw material using nanomachines. Yeah, probably terrifying. All right, then we've got, let's see here, the large carrier. And this one, you get a very queen bee effect. Oh, and I forgot to take off fighters. I forgot to unload a couple. Oh well, whatever. Not worth redoing it. Yeah, got the nice big angled back. It definitely differentiates itself a little bit from the original, but frankly in a better, simpler way. It's a cleaner design, I think, this time around. So yeah. Then we have the huge version. And the huge version, I did not forget to take a few off. You know, there's a missing spot. And yeah, it is very similar, but you've got this carapacing effect going on. Much bigger angle because it continues. And lots more engines, and of course, way more fighters. Really happy with how this guy came out. Okay, so now we're going to skip to the smalls. The smalls are weird. The smalls are a little less directly waspish. They're still insectile, though. So there's a missile one, actually. That's going to be a missile weapon there. Then we've got your beam. Very simple. 2 big beam arrays just coming off the top. And then your kinetic, which uses the now familiar kinetic / turret thing that you saw on the fighters. Just very, very fixed into it. So spinal mounted, I guess you could say. So yeah, pretty happy with those. Then you've got, let's see here, mediums. The medium uses the classic design from the original X series, albeit again rebuilt, but more or less similar. Not entirely happy with the proportions. I made the head much bigger, and the engine's much bigger than the previous one. Not certain that's a good thing, but I'm also too tired to redo it. So you got your missile guy with the 2 big fanned out, weird, angly missile pods. Your kinetic turret guy, your beam turret guy, and then you're balanced with 2 kinetic, 2 beam, and then a built-in missile up there. He certainly looks armed to the teeth. And yeah, very buggish. Okay. Now, for a medium survey ship, we've got this guy. He was a lot of fun. He's got 3 eyes and weird positionings. He's got a little missile pod, not a full pod. 2 beam weapons on the sides. Lots of these sort of antenna things. 2 sets of legs, actually. So that's creepy. And then he's also got 2 eyes in the back, which is also creepy. So I really like this guy. I might come back to this set one day and add a lot of variant ships following this sort of motif for the mediums. You know, maybe a few less of the waspy guys and a little more of them. Okay, moving on to the larges. The larges follow the same style as the medium, except now they've clearly taken on a wasp format with the retracting sort of needle-like abdomen, and also the sort of pyramid piece being fanned out and having two of them like big wings. So that definitely gives it that bug-like appearance even more so. Here's a missile, here's a kinetic, here's a beam, here's the balanced. So very happy with this guy. And then finally we have the huges. The huges are very similar again, only the abdomen goes even further, is less sharp, more curved. You've got three crests, if you will, pyramid wings, crests, whatever. He's got an extra eye right above the other. And then, of course, the weapon, just way more weapons. So this guy's got, 6 missile pods. This guy's got 6 kinetic turrets. He's got 8 beams. And then the balanced has a missile at the bottom, beams on the side, and kinetics on top. There you go. Oh, and they do still have legs. Very tiny legs. So, yeah, like I said, I limited the animation ever so slightly, mostly on the carriers. The little turrets on the fighters don't move anymore. And the docked fighters don't have legs. Just imagine they tuck them in. Okay, I think that's it for these guys. So thanks for listening, and yeah, look forward to these guys. And everybody have a great night.